Islam, Islam, Islam. I rise, giving all thanks and perfect praises unto Allah. Highest honors to His holy prophet. Honors to all and each and every person a part and participating in the great program of uplifting fallen humanity.
That's right.
We're back on Let's Think podcast. We're back with brother Sharif Anyal Bey. We're back with brother Khalil Ali Allah. And our topic today is occult and esoteric connections. It seems as though a lot of people enjoyed the last show and the depth that you brothers took the conversation and the dialogue to. So it was a must that, we bring this back, and we all had the same idea to do this again. So we're just, by willing permission of Allah, we're just following up and falling back into that particular space where we can give up these jewels. How you brothers doing today, may I
ask? I'm all right, God. I'm blessed. Plentiful day.
All right.
And I'm feeling great, brother. I'm feeling great,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So let's get right into it. We had a lot of good feedback from the last show, the last presentation. And there were some that I had questions, I had great comments, and of course we had those who had their disagreements, their contentions with the dialogue, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah. So I'm gonna leave the floor up to you guys. What do we have on the floor today? What are you brothers gonna put on our plate for today?
I'd like to start. I'd like to kind of like set the ground floor for the conversation by starting with this word, the word occult.
Yes, sir.
Right? That in the West carries such a negative connotation, and where that negative connotation actually came from. Right?
Okay.
When we hear occult, our minds automatically go to something negative, something evil, something demonic, something of that nature. And that thinking literally comes from the Holy Office during the Spanish Inquisition. That's where that thinking comes from, people. Let me oversimplify it. If you knew how to treat a particular physical illness with a particular herbal tea, you were possessed by a demon or you were a witch, and you had to be examined. Examined meant either we exorcised the demon out of you via torture or we killed you. That's what that meant. And again, the purpose of the Spanish Inquisition was, first of all, it was a get money scheme for the church and the crown. But it was at the expense of also eradicating the old world thinking of their former old world masters. And what do I mean by that? The present Western civilization was formed out of the ashes of old world Western civilization, which was both Islamic and African. So if you were educated in any of the schools of thought, or any of the universities in Spain, Seville, Cordoba, if you were educated in any of those, you sooner or later were going to end up in front of the Inquisition. And that's, you see what I'm saying? This term occult literally just means inner or hidden. That's what it means. Inner or hidden. That's all occult means, people. Doesn't mean anything demonic or anything evil. And historically, in the Western world, the term occult was attached to anything that came from higher learning from the institutions of your forefathers.
No, that's true. That's true. They also called us heathens and pagans.
That's a fact.
Yes, sir.
They love to call us heathens and pagans. But the interesting point of it all is you cannot study the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is given to him from Allah Master Muhammad, and you cannot study the teachings that was given to the Moorish Science Temple by the noble prophet Drew Ali and have an issue with what you consider to be occult studies.
Come on.
Woo.
It's impossible. And the reason why is that is because they have dressed up occult science and gave it to babes.
Woo.
Yes, sir.
And this is an absolute fact, right?
Yes, sir.
And if people don't pay attention to that, then what they're doing is they're ignoring a simplistic fact
Yes.
by lack of study.
Yes.
Where do we believe the teachings of the 12 scientists or 12 imams and the 24 scientists, 12 major, 12 minor? That's not limited to the teachings of the Nation of Islam. Whether we're dealing with the teachings of a triune God and the 7 spirits and all of that, that's not limited to the Circle 7 Quran.
That's a fact.
These teachings are developing from a different source that has been held within the mystery systems under oaths for years.
That's a fact.
Facts.
But see, that time in those circles for which it was given, it had to be given to us in such a form that it will help to develop us to that particular stage of initiation. Initiation doesn't necessarily symbolize a criteria of entering any order, whether it's Freemasonry, whether it's the Golden Dawn or any of those systems, right? Your initiation is by the development of your consciousness.
That's a fact.
Which opens up the door or the avenue for you to receive a higher state of learning.
Come on, brother.
Right? This is just a simple fact. Let's take, for instance, Master Farad Muhammad, Allah in person, named our teachings the supreme wisdom. Now, in thoughts, individuals will say, well, the supreme wisdom, but do they understand what that means to say the supreme wisdom? By the Department of Supreme Wisdom, do he give this particular knowledge, and why did he name it that? This terminology is not limited to the Nation of Islam. This terminology is inside of the teachings of Hinduism, inside of the teachings of Sufism. It is very clear. Dr. Muhammad Ashby wrote a book, and the heading of the book is Supreme Wisdom.
That's fact.
And he had Heru on the cover of it.
That's right.
Because supreme wisdom symbolizes, without jumping ahead, let's talk about the great masters or the gurus that had existed prior. And I don't want to mess up their names, so I'm going to look their names up and pronunciated properly, because we're dealing with Hindu systems, right?
Yes.
Or the masters that's coming from out of them, right? 1 minute here. I just want to make sure I say the words right. And I send people to this book all the time, right? Whenever they having a misunderstanding, I tell them, go and study the book, Biography of a Yogi.
That's right.
Go and study that book so that you can begin to understand the relationship between the student and his teacher.
Yes.
And Yogananda Paramahansa, he would say that before he speak, he would enter into samadhi.
That's right.
So that he can have communication or downloaded the information from such a state in order for him to communicate from that department
Come on.
to his students into the world. So in other words, he could sit there and have a whole entire conversation with you. And that's just the knowledge of who he is in the base. But it is not until he enters the state of samadhi that he starts to communicate with what you call cosmic consciousness.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
So when you have an individual such as Master Farad Muhammad,
yes,
who now names something the Department of Supreme Wisdom, it is meaning of it's two folds that's coming. You have an external expression and you have an internal expression.
That's right.
Now, to the simple layman as we, who entered the Nation of Islam, received our X's, study some lessons, and start breaking down material, that's a curriculum.
Right.
In order for us to begin to search out and meet out, to enter into different stages of development and growth, which is your history, acknowledgement of the planets, the stars, and the water, and those particular things. But it begins to go into a deeper understanding into the intellect and hopefully begin to develop the inner man into higher stages of learning.
Absolutely.
So the God says, the Department of Supreme Wisdom, inside of Hinduism, amongst the swamis and the gurus, the Department of Supreme Wisdom, and they use the word Supreme Wisdom very clearly. They use that word Supreme Wisdom, which means one who had ascertained cosmic consciousness. It is no longer your thoughts. It is the thoughts of the divine.
Ain't that something?
And that is then receiving the download from the Department of Supreme Wisdom.
Come on, brother.
So when Master Farad Muhammad said the Supreme Wisdom, he is making reference to when all that exists is Allah, meaning that I am communicating with you from the highest auspices of being, from that department of only reached by those who reach mastery or who have crossed the abyss.
Right.
Entered into the states of Bina.
Right.
Where resides your Buddhas, where reside those that reach Samadhi, your masters, your gurus.
Right.
Or particular stages who have reached such a state of development. So this is what he was expressing to us.
Correct.
But people get caught up in misunderstanding what perfection is. Perfection is not making an error.
Right.
That's spookism.
That's right.
You could sit around and you could trip, fall, not write, not have perfect penmanship, not be able to pronunciate words properly. You might have a little anger temperament. You may have many things. That does not negate you from your spiritual position.
Right.
Because your perfection is your duty.
Correct.
In your duty, are you perfect?
Ooh, come on.
You understand what I'm saying? The duty of a messenger, the duty of a prophet, the duty of those who reach certain stages of development and mastery is to raise fallen humanity.
That's fact.
Or to raise the uncivilized into the knowledge of themselves.
That's right.
If they could present that message in their duty, it doesn't mean anything of what their character is. All that matters is that they are perfection. There's perfection in what their duty is, which is the delivery of the truth that will raise a dead man.
How about that?
Or a dead woman. And that is what people are misunderstanding what truth is. And that's what people are getting lost. So we judge our prophets. We judge our messengers. And we begin to try to pick them apart. Oh, man, he didn't say that, right? Look at him. Oh, man, the prophet Nabu Ali used to do this back in the day. He ain't that. Oh, the messenger, he was doing this. He ain't that. Stop. What was their duty?
There you go.
And how perfect was in doing their duty.
But brother, can I jump in real quick?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But an individual making such a judgment has to have a requisite, how we say it in another school of thought, has to have sufficient proficiency before they can even make such a determination. They have had to have grown to be able to even tell whether that messenger or whether that prophet has lived up to their duty. You know what I mean? And,
Absolutely.
And I concur 100% with Brother Khalil with what he's just said. 100%. We use a term in the Moorish Science Temple of America that's very similar to supreme wisdom. We say infinite wisdom. Right? And we're given a challenge, right?
Raise our thoughts.
Wouldst thou raise thy thoughts to infinite wisdom? Another word, that's space. What we're right. Chapter 1 tells us what wisdom speaks from the highest plane of spirit light. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's above the abyss where that triune is that Brother Khalid was speaking of.
Yes,
right?
Sir.
The Hebrews call that triune Kether, Tokma, and Bina. Right?
1000%.
Yes, sir. So if your consciousness, if you could reach that space and speak from there, you are in that department. Right?
And that's the secret.
Yes,
to
sir.
ascertain such a state.
Come on, brother.
And we could do a lifetime, or you might do, as if some don't understand it, several lifetimes.
Yes, sir.
In order to reach such a state of being, because there is no death, right?
Right.
Let me read something from Ibn al-Arabi, just on the statement of perfection.
Yes, sir.
It is not necessary for one who is perfect to be superior in everything and at every level, since men of the spirit have regard only to precedence in the degrees of the knowledge of God, which is their sole aim. You gotta hear that.
That's mean right there.
That's deep. Oh, I'm gonna read that one. I'm gonna read that again.
Please do.
It is not necessary for one who is perfect to be superior in everything and at every level, since men of the spirit have regard only to precedence in the degrees of the knowledge of God, which is their sole aim.
Ain't that something?
Which is telling us that we come here on varying degrees.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No weaknesses in your flesh because of our undeveloped wills in a particular area. Doesn't negate your spiritual station on the inner planes.
Come on.
That's how deep that goes, right?
Yes,
because
sir.
You don't know your station.
Right.
For instance, let's take somebody and we go into, and out of nowhere, they want to start practicing pranayama. Or they say, I want to start practicing yoga and the asanas.
Right.
They have never been initiated in any order.
Right.
None.
Right.
But to those who have been initiated, understanding that everybody come here on a degree, their life purpose is within that degree.
Correct.
So if I see a person that say, all right, I'll have an urge to get into pranayama, I'm having an urge to get into the asanas and to master it, then you working on a Zelda degree.
There you go. In other words, you're right. And see, from our perspective, they are only partially consciously returning to work that they had previously engaged in.
1000%.
See?
Because man is immortal.
Yes, sir.
And that's what must be kept into reality. What we see here is an aspect of man.
There you go.
It's like when they say, Allah does not urinate. Right. Allah does not defecate.
Right.
Allah does not need food.
There you go.
I agree to disagree.
Right.
The external expression of God needs those things.
That's deep,
but the internal expression of God needs none of it.
That's fact.
How do we know that? Whether if you in the cold or whether if you in the heat, do you not hear that voice inside of you? It's communicating with you, right?
Right.
When you lay down and your body is at rest, are you dead?
No, sir.
Are your thoughts still traveling?
That's a fact.
If you're attuned enough, can you still bring forth the images that you had in your dream?
Yes, sir.
So Allah never sleeps, nor does he slumber.
Nope. He
Nope.
begets not, nor is he begotten.
Right. Because you have to think about, what does this actually mean?
Right.
Because if we're breaking it down into a deep understanding of things, people travel forever to learn what you and I learned in a lesson.
Come on, brother.
Who is the original man?
And that, brother, I just want to jump in real quick. There's a big misconception with members of the Moorish Science Temple of America where they read where the prophet was reported to have said, I took the cover off all secret organizations. They take that they're looking at it from the perspective of a profane.
Like he's a whistleblower.
Right. Doesn't mean he was a whistleblower. Doesn't mean he was a whistleblower. What it means is exactly what our brother Khalil just said. He took the covers off. He taught us things that others have to pay a lot of money, have to go through a lot of other issues with, and are learning it partially veiled.
Yeah, because they can give it to you.
We have, pardon me for interrupting.
Go ahead, God. Yes, sir.
We have degrees within our doctrine that we've been given to us by the Holy Prophet as our religion.
Come on, brother.
In which those who have embraced this knowledge from a initiatorial, I say, a Gus body standpoint, would have to do in private.
Ain't that something?
Yes, sir.
Because isn't that something? Yes, sir. I'm gonna tell you the secret to that. They may give it to us,
right?
But it's you that have to utilize it.
Come on,
yes, sir.
Nobody has to enter an order
to
get the secrets of meditation, the visualization techniques.
Right.
I can give it to you.
Right.
But what you gonna do with it?
Come on. See, brother.
Right.
See, one of the things that we have a problem with, our people, especially coming out of the grave, right? We still have some of the old sluggishness on us. So hence you hear a lot of the woke teaching of, oh, well, melanin does this and melanin does that. And I'm the god because I have melanin, and I'm the goddess because I got melanin. What they're really trying to say is, I don't got to do no work. I got brown skin. I'm good. No. Because they thinking, then they pair with the whole age of Aquarius, the age of I know. Oh, the age of secrets is over. Wrong. In the age of Pisces, unless somebody wanted you to know, you couldn't know. How about that? Now you have access, but that access comes with work. And the access comes with what Brother Khalil said, practice. You don't want, that's another thing, the way the Honorable Elijah Muhammad brought his teaching, the way Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought his teaching, it was to do it the very best to prevent what we call ivory tower occultists, ivory tower Muslims, ivory tower Muslims, where we could be, where we're academically sound. We could talk about it all day, but no real accomplishment. See what I'm saying? We could talk about it all day and no real accomplishment. We don't want ivory tower practitioners, ivory tower members. We want the skill to be on the hand. We want the skill to be in the heart. You know what I'm saying? You want to be the walking, talking thing, not, as the prophet taught us, man must, if he must know, he must first be what he knows.
Well, that's the only way to do it. That's experiential knowledge.
That's right, brother. It's the only way. To know means to know and do simultaneously. Brother Khalil, let me ask you a question. I like if you care to share with the audience, right? What is your background, briefly, in secret orderism or occult orders?
Freemasonry, Hermetic Order, the Golden Dawn, Rosicrucianism, AA, and Sufism.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Mine, Freemasonry, and the OTOA, Ordo Templi Orientis Antiqua, the Maosan School of Great Purity that comes out of China, and also a particular Sufi order. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Mine, I was initiated, passed, and raised in the craft of masonry. I also held a post in the Order of the Eastern Star.
Yes, sir.
And I'm also a member of a Sufi order myself.
Praise Allah. Brother Khalil, you said something that was powerful about, when the piece that you read from Ibn Arabi, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was powerful, a number of levels. In chapter 26 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Symbol of America, on the chapter on unity, it says, the gifts of the understanding are the treasures of Allah, and he appointed to everyone his portion in a measure that seemeth good unto himself. So kind of saying the same thing. I like how it was put by, I can't remember if it was Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it this way or Minister Farrakhan. I think it was Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? There's always, when it comes to a particular area of activity, there's always a best knower. And when that best knower is in your presence on that particular field of expertise or area, that field of endeavor, right? You submit.
1000%.
Yeah, you submit.
Yeah, I mean, that's to the wise.
Right.
That's to the wise, right? Because again, we begin to look at form. And when you get stuck in form, you miss everything else.
Yes, sir.
You miss everything else, because our own personal biasness, traumas, and things like that gets in the way of what we're looking at. We have to understand that we look through things through a shaded glass. We don't look at things through a clear glass.
You see where he went, Brother Sheik 7?
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? It's through a shaded glass that we look at everything. Right? In a group of recently, I've been dealing with Aleister Crowley, right?
Yes, sir.
The reason why that I dealt with Aleister Crowley is to bust up our way of approaching things.
Right.
Because if you God,
right,
you cannot sit down and start to say, well, this man's character was this. Everything he ever did was the devil.
Right.
That means that's how you see everything.
Right.
In the way that you move within life. You're seeing things through a certain veil.
Right.
I'm not a follower of Aleister Crowley.
Nope.
But I'm very well acquainted to be able to point out what he taught and what he didn't teach. And what it is that he presented. If it's okay, I'd like to read something to you that I wrote on this.
Please.
About I was dealing with the argument of him using the terminology beast.
Yes. Okay. Yes, sir.
And I said, why did Crowley call himself Therion the Beast?
Right.
Here is wisdom, let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
That's right.
Now, when the average person look at it, they are looking at it in a scriptural manner, and there's a religious connotation to it. But then there is what you call an occultic connotation to it. Because here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. In other words, wisdom is Hakma.
Right.
Let him who has understanding, that is Bina.
That's right.
Understanding is Bina, the Bible, the bride of Hakma.
That's
the
right.
number of the beast is the number of the man, which is 666, is the number of the sun.
Correct.
So when you are dealing with the tables, you have the sun, for which becomes the number for which it is dealing with, right? So when they look at it, they're looking at it from different eyes. Let me show. And it showed them how deep this thing go when they take it out of the religious context and approaching it.
Right.
From this is the occult, this is the devil, this is that, this man is God. We can enter into anything, and it become purified to the intent of our hearts. If your heart is dirty, and if your heart is corrupted, then you're corrupted.
Period.
It doesn't matter what you're entering into.
That's right.
If it's you, it's you. And you will suffer the consequences of what you are or what you think you are. Right? So let me read this. Aleister Crowley made Prophet Muhammad a saint of his ecclesiastical Gnostic church.
That's right.
As well, said that he held the degree of a magus.
Yes.
The degree of magus is 9 = 2, and it belongs to the Sefer of Hakma.
Yes.
One comes to birth in Hakma after crossing the abyss and becoming a babe of the abyss in the womb of Babylon.
Right.
Babylon is another name for Bina.
That's fact.
After an initiate sojourns there, he or she is reborn as a Magister Templar or Master of the Temple. Crossing the abyss and being reborn in Bina is the total annihilation of the ego.
That's true.
True fauna has been ascertained, and the identity of I is no more. There is no more attachment to the mundane world, dunya. Here is a total and complete oneness with the universe. In the degree of magus, 9 = 2, the degree of magus is described as a man can make personal progress equivalent to that of a word of an aeon. But he will identify himself with the current word and exert his will to establish it, lest he conflict with the work of the magus who uttered the word of the aeon in which he is living.
Come on.
The magus is preeminently the master of magic. That is, his will is entirely free from internal diversion or external opposition. His work is to create a new universe in accordance with his will. He is the master of the law of change. Listen, let's deal with that in and of itself.
Right.
A man can make personal progress equivalent to that of a word of an aeon, but he will identify himself with the current word and exert his will to establish it, lest he conflict with the work of the magus who uttered the word of the aeon in which he's living. Stop for a minute. Listen.
You're talking about an eternal idea.
That's right. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Prophet Noble Drew Ali comes with a word.
Right.
With an aeon.
Right.
The prophet passes away at a young age.
Yes.
In a young time within his mission. He leaves a body of work that is not meted out, but it is enough in order to be able to raise the dead, right? But when he passes away, one comes within his strain, sounding like him, his teaching, begins to mete it out. This man is Master Farad Muhammad. He comes in. You got the same language. It's the teachings. One is in a gross form and one is a meted out form. But it's the same thing that's sitting right there. If they can stop looking at the differences and look at
the similarities.
Absolutely. So when he come, what did it say? It comes in the previous word that's already there.
Right.
Then he begins to develop. And you know that it's a lie because he came and he rode. So a vacuum is created at the death of the prophet that had to be filled. In order for that to be filled, you need a messenger. You had many Moorish leaders at that time. What did they accomplish at that time to that level if the word was to come through them at that time? You see the working of Allah because it's one surah, one Quran, working through surahs and ayats, which are ions of time and chapters of life.
Right.
In order to grow beyond one stage to another stage into a higher development. Let's prove this. You gods are Moorish Americans, right?
Yes, sir.
My
Yes,
brother.
sir.
You know your history better than I ever will. There was Moorish Americans in place at the time of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad being raised.
Actual fact.
Did they accomplish what he accomplished?
No.
No.
And this ain't a knock to no one. It's showing you
No, it's
how
not.
Allah is moving.
Right. Right.
It's Allah that's moving to finish the Quran.
How about that?
It's not that it is separate.
Right.
It is a development
Right.
into growth. As what the Prophet Allah manifested to him, he came and he presented it. The enemy took it, meaning took him away.
How about that?
The enemy took him away.
How about that?
Because they can be killed.
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
Angels of Allah can be eliminated
That's right.
before they reach their station. It can be done.
It can be done.
This is why they await to murder the messiahs. If you can't kill a messiah, then why is the enemy waiting to kill him?
Why is he trying?
That's absolutely, because there is no mystery God.
That's a fact.
There's no mystery God. So wherever we have to start looking at things as a development of one book. That's like if you read one surah of the Holy Quran.
Right.
How are you upset? Because it's speaking in the other chapter, it's speaking about something else.
Right.
But it's a continuation of the previous surah.
Previous surah.
This is what it's making reference to.
Right.
So people don't understand it.
Right.
So that a brother asked me online, I was there, why when that's from Muhammad came, he got this, he got that. Brother, sister, he coming in the language for which gave birth to of that aeon and truth that was presented.
Right.
Because he was coming after a certain flock.
Yes, sir.
Because the children was left wandering.
Right.
And it had to go somewhere else.
Right.
If it was meant, if it's not Allah moving.
Right. Right.
Then it would have been equaled.
Yes, sir.
In its development.
Let me tell you, brother, I'm a member of the Moorish Science of America, obviously. I bear witness to what you're saying, and I'm going to share why. Even before the Prophet Noble Drew Ali passed, and you're talking about a point in time when the movement had exploded.
Yes, sir.
With thousands of members. The Prophet had national and international recognition. And in that time period, he says this. There's going to come a time when the numbers dwindle down to a few. But keep my doors open and I'm going to drive the Asiatics in. Now, he also says he didn't come, and this was at a time, like I said, when the movement was huge.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't come for this generation. He said he came for the children and the generations yet unborn. Then he also said they're going to be new Moors doing what? Coming in with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. Right?
That's deep. That's deep.
Okay, you serious?
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. That's deep. Because we don't understand what it is to be a Moor, right?
Right.
They think that to be a Moor, you got to run around with the fezzes on.
How about that?
That's not it. Let's get to what a Moor really is and what it represents. And what the institution is and the spiritual station of such.
Come on.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let me if I can finish this one thought. So after I put that, universe in accordance with his will, he is the master of the law of change. Now look at this. It must be understood that one may be a magus in spiritual stations while suffering from the worldly things, such as weaknesses of the flesh. Right. We misunderstand and see through a cloudy glass
thus see masters by such limitations. For instance, my degree on the inner planes is not necessarily reflected here on this one.
That's a fact.
Each of us come here on a certain degree, pushing to evolve and pass the travails of that degree. May we all eventually ascertain freedom, wherein our egos no longer force our descent back into the world of shells.
Ain't that something?
For Adamu is a light being, while Adam is a shadow. We must embrace the light. Each of us are initiates of the AA, and then I went into that discussion because
no, you said a lot there, brother. Some of that we're gonna have to decode for the audience. Like you said a lot there, especially the whole thing about in the world of shells.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you said a lot there, brother.
We're dealing with the God science, right?
Right.
And what it is that we have to evolve beyond the stages of being babies.
Come on, brother.
We are what you have: temple Moors, temple Muslims, temple Muslims, temple FYs, temple this, temple that.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
That's an arc for the body in the simple layman.
Come on, brother.
But it's not the arc.
Right.
For the gods.
Right. Right.
We work.
Right.
We travel.
But see, brother, that's why there's an outer door and an inner door.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You said something first of all, you said a mouthful. One thing I wanted to touch on real quick that you mentioned, you said we see through a cloudy glass. I promise you, brother, you must have been a fly on the wall in my past 2 Sunday schools, because and again, remember, we're in a process, right? We're in a process of shaking the Negro off, and all of us, right? Okay, that's it.
Yes, sir.
It's very easy for us to intellectualize about high, lofty ideals, and then 5 seconds later find ourselves right back neck deep in Negro.
Oh, 1,000%.
Right.
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time, right? So I said to say this. We have to practice. That's why coming together, even doing this is benefiting us. We all know that, right?
Absolutely.
So we have to come together and practice so it becomes a part of every part. So you see what I'm saying? So I say that to say this. The brother mentioned we see through a cloudy glass. Remember what Elihu in chapter 3, Holy Chronicles of Moorish Science of America, is teaching in the Sacred Grove in Egypt. Okay, we already know what that means. Anyway, he says the lower self, the carnal self, the body of desires. He didn't say it was the physical flesh.
The body of desire.
But we were socialized into believing that flesh is sinful. How about that? He said the carnal, the lower self, the carnal self, the body of desires is what? It's a reflection of our higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. How about that?
Well, damn, that's you just meted it out what I was saying.
But now, in our fallen state, this is what we're doing. Imagine you looking in the mirror at your own reflection and you see a piece of lint on your forehead. Do you touch your forehead or do you touch the mirror? We're touching the mirror, trying to get
1,000%.
Because
that's absolutely true.
Cloudy. We're seeing the image. We don't see it clearly. See?
That's right.
And we're mistaking the image for us.
That's right. And you know, the deep thing about it is we too trapped up into what is superior.
Yes.
I know y'all have that going on in y'all nation.
You already know.
Because I know we have it going on in our nation.
Yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
So when I look at things and I tell you gods all the time, I say us as a people, especially, we are too close knit.
Yes.
Nation of Islam, the MSTA.
Yes, sir.
We too close.
Right.
Now, if a person is blind, that's up to them.
Exactly.
But we too close in brotherhood and sisterhood.
That's a fact, brother.
This ain't about what's superior.
Right.
It's the Quran that we are meeting out right now.
Thank you, brother.
We're working through it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir. And
because we have the same mission.
The same mission. That's right, brother.
And to be honest with you, we're failing miserably.
Yes, we are.
We're failing miserably.
Yes. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
I'll
sir.
give you an example. There was a Moorish Science Temple on, it might be still there. It's on South Street.
Yes, sir.
I think I told you this before. Me and my wife was walking by, and I said, I'm going to go in this temple. I said, I'm going to go up in there.
Yes, sir.
So the brother had, the scimitar and all of that on his chest. He looking all that. Brother ain't know who I was. I didn't show who I was because I always come as a baby.
There you go.
Because ultimately, in the greater scheme of things, I am a baby.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
I asked him, what do that mean? I just wanted to say. Because in masonry, in masonry, we may walk up to each other and I cover your square and your compass.
You already know.
Now we're going to talk, right? I'm going to see where you at for real, right?
You're right.
So at that time, I asked him, but instead of the brother, he don't know my walks.
Right.
You might be trying to raise one of fallen humanity.
Come on, brother.
You may be trying to raise one who is uncivilized into the knowledge of self. So if I come and I ask you a question, you have to come in a language that interests me to pull me in.
If not, you're not doing your job.
Right. Because Master Farah Muhammad said, you attract more bees with honey.
That's right.
But people want to give you salt, right?
Right.
So let me tell you, instead of the brother responding to me, he responded. But he responded to me with arrogance. He didn't even break a smile. What do you want? So what he said to me.
Whoa.
What do you want? Like, why are you here? I just asked the question.
Whoa.
So when we go upstairs, I sit down. My wife, hey, I'm here like this. I'm sincere because whatever school I enter, I come as a student.
Yes, sir.
So I come in for 35 minutes. This man talked about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad being a member of the Moorish Science Temple at one point in time. He taught absolutely nothing else. Nothing. His whole discussion was directed at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad without using his name.
That means he was intimidated.
Now the question is, what is important?
Right.
Raising me up, because you don't know who I am.
Right.
I'm just one of the dead.
Right.
Or is it more important to stroke your ego? See, because I don't care. Majority of people I teach don't even know I'm with the messenger.
Right.
I don't always say the messenger.
Right.
I just talk. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, brother, and Minister Alif always puts it out there. He said, the messenger says sometimes, brother, you have to go up under that old raggedy cross to get to people.
But look, I gotta say this, Brother Khalil. Brother Khalil, I gotta say this, and this is actually to your credit.
Yes, sir.
Bro, you could be in tattered rags. Mo, you still got that FOI shine. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We call that the prison look, right? You know how brothers get out of jail.
They see it a mile away.
The brothers get out of that prison, right? We be shining, don't we?
Be glowing.
We be out there enjoying glowing, boy. You think we done fasted and ate 20 bulbs of garlic?
Yes, sir.
Bro.
In order to get that for them, right? But look, what I was talking about in regards to the 12 scientists, take the scientists.
Yes, sir.
The scientist is definitely not just limited to the Nation of Islam.
Actual fact.
The scientist is known by the Lamas. The scientist is known by the Hindu masters. And definitely the scientist is known by the Western systems. Do you know that there is a scrying technique dealing with the aethers? These aethers, oh man, I'm gonna say it anyway. All right. These aethers.
Probably, what's aethers for the listening audience?
Well, the aethers. I would say the aethers are the inner planes. We should say the inner plane. Aethers, ethers, the inner planes. All right.
Yes,
There you go.
All right.
We had to make it clear because we want the the listening audience to be like, what is he talking
Aethers,
about?
ethers, same plane. I'm just going to say planes. One is aethers, ethers is the same thing though.
Yes, sir.
Right? So on the planes and dealing with scrying, which is traveling on the planes,
yes,
there is a ritual for which you can use in order to communicate with the 24 elders.
Come on, brother. That's right.
And this is not a lie. This is straight up a fact.
That's right.
Right? In fact, I'm going to show you how the West already knew about the 12 scientists. Let me read it to you.
Yes.
The 12 masters of the White Lodge, who have all taken part in the whole Earth evolution.
Yes, sir.
The leader, the teacher of the school holds no responsibility towards anyone other than the one, which is the master, in whose name he speaks or she speaks.
That's right.
This is the master Rudolf Steiner.
That's right.
This is what he is saying.
Yo, stop. Listen, I just want to say real quick, Steiner's my guy.
Yeah, Steiner about it. Even though he got taints of racism, but he about it.
Yeah, he does. But now that goes back to something else you said I wanted to touch on, right? We don't worship personalities.
Right, absolutely.
We're not spooked out. Yeah, Crowley thought a lot of things that I don't like or agree with, and did things that I don't like or agree with.
Oh, 1,000%.
But guess what? What made him so strong? What made him so influential? His work ethic. He put the work
1,000%.
That guy put the work in. I want to share it's a close paraphrasing. It's almost a quote. The scientific definition of magic. Brother Khalil touched on it earlier. To cause change and conformity with one's will.
1,000%.
The proper magical operation from going from one room to another is turning a doorknob. He said, but to will anything other than the supreme will is to wander further away from it.
That's right.
Anything. To fail to submit your puny individual will to the will of the divine is what they would call black magic.
That's exactly what they call it.
Right. But such a simple act to our complex minds is difficult, hence training is necessary. Then the last part, most people don't have a will. They have a set of wishes.
Absolutely.
One contradicts the other, and at death, they're all canceled out. You know who said? First of all, that definition sounds a lot like Islam, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
All right. Aleister Crowley said that.
Absolutely. Well, you know that Aleister Crowley took bait amongst the Sufis.
That's a fact.
He took it amongst the Sufis. In fact, he had said Surah al-Ikhlas 1,000 times.
Right.
Before he went before he reached a communication with an entity or higher conscious in order to produce the book. He went into Surah al-Ikhlas 1,000 times. Let me show you this, right? Because, and I just want to dispel to understand the science of things and how adepts talk from the way that everybody else may talk, but to make them make people just open up your mind to being able to look past symbolism.
Right.
Right? Let me get this. Crowley made a hymn to Lucifer, which depicts Eden as a form of restricted prison and stagnation from which man is not able to develop into true self-knowledge. In all esoteric systems, then I break down why he named it Lucifer.
Yes.
In all esoteric systems, the serpent represents the light of gnosis.
That's right.
As it's the serpent that aims for man to develop in knowledge of Godhead.
Correct.
However, the poem alludes to the 15th key of the tarot, the devil.
The devil.
This card represents action or creative energy in the mundane, according to the Thoth deck.
Yes.
The goat represents the planet Saturn in the astrological sign of Capricorn.
Capricorn.
The Hebrew letter governing the Devil Tarot card is Ayin.
Yep.
Now, though Crowley interprets the Devil card as such in his Thoth deck, a deck I would suggest novices not to use. The symbolism is too deep. I've had it for many years and never used it.
Right.
The Devil in other tarot decks, like the one by the Ciceros, which happens to be my favorite deck, and one like Rider-Waite, the Devil represents materialism, etc. The Devil Tarot in a reading can suggest new beginnings or challenges. In other words, if you are looking at the external form, you will always be driven away.
Correct.
Because it always comes in a form that is to shun the novice.
That's a fact.
Who does not use the full powers of the Sphinx.
That's a
to
fact.
know, to will, to dare, and to remain
be silent.
That these are the rules. You must have courage to travel into the depths of yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You have to have courage to do it.
That's right.
And what they gave us, the Prophet Noble Dry Ali, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, via Master Farad Muhammad.
Yes.
From Master Farad Muhammad via the messenger.
Yes.
They gave us a curriculum and a system.
Yes.
Which will lead us into all knowledge.
All knowledge.
If we disciplined ourselves to travel that road.
Come on, brother.
Into the perfection of ourselves, meaning knowledge.
Yes.
And a perfect attunement with God.
To your point, brother.
Yes, sir.
Crowley wrote, and I love this. My wife loves this particular statement. Crowley wrote, he called them postcards to initiates. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he talked about in one of the statements in it, he talks about the profane. He doesn't use the word profane, but he just says, basically saying the average individual pays attention to God-inspired the writings of God-inspired men, whereas the enlightened are focused on what the God-inspired men did to become enlightened.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Then it says, you know, so we studied how we say it in the More Science of America, sow and reap in a scanty way, right? Mm. How the poor toiler, he's toiling his poor soil to try to make a living, and he could barely make a living until what? A miner comes along and says, basically, you're in the wrong business, my guy. You're trying to till the ground to grow stuff. This ain't that ground for that. You got to dig deeper and get them jewels up out of there, right? So right. So that's what we're doing a lot of times, and that's what one of the advantages of being of having been exposed to some of these other schools provides us.
Absolutely. It gives us a value of what we already have.
Come on, there you go. Right. We get to see what others don't quite yet see. You see what I'm saying? They don't quite see it. So, like what the brother Khalil said about, we followed the instructions that we were given. We were given instructions, right? In the Nation of Islam, restrictive law of Islam is our success at any time.
Absolutely.
Those are a set of instructions, right? In the Holy Quran of More Science of America, the word lessons is used on page 3, the first page. Everything else says the divine instructions. Why? Because you follow the instructions. The result you get back is the secret.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? That ain't written down. That's not written down.
And if I may add on, in a lot of situations too, brothers, and I think this would align with what you're saying, though I just came back in the room, and pardon me, I had to step out for a second. But one thing I see in the amongst us, shall I say, the conscious community, or those who consider themselves woke or enlightened, right?
Yeah.
What we do is we have a degree of personality worship. You know, where You know, it's just like the analogy that you said one time. If you if you're walking across the street and somebody tap you with their car, you're not gonna kick the car. You're looking in the windshield.
You look in the windshield. How about that?
In essence, what happens is, and I read this, and I can't remember exactly what Sufi master who particularly said it, but he pointed to the fact, paraphrasing, that the true master is not the person, it's the light that exists within that particular personage.
Ooh.
That is manifesting outwardly the light of truth. So in many instances, people tend to look at the person. We'll look like, in let's take it and place it in context with our particular movement. We have individuals they look at the Prophet Noble Jew Ali, or they may think they're looking at the Prophet Noble Jew Ali.
Yes.
They're looking at his outward form, but they never conceive his inner form.
Right.
His inner reality. That's or the light, or that particular master that is projecting itself outwardly through the form of what we know is the person of Prophet Noble Jew Ali. And this particular light exists in it exists in amongst the other nations, in other forms, in other places, and even simultaneously as he existed on the planet Earth himself.
Come on, bro. See, that's deep what you're saying. It goes back to what, the brother Khalil was saying a couple times. He mentioned it a couple times. We're not just those of us that are students of Prophet Noble Jew Ali or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? The knowledge that we were given by these men don't just make us skilled or knowledgeable amongst each other in our own meetings. You know what I'm saying? Like in the craft, it says what? Why did you why did you become a master? Answer: travel in foreign countries and earn a master's wages. Meaning somebody outside of us knows exactly what I'm talking about and they can relate. Right, they recognize it. Right, see what I'm saying? Right. So it's like for instance, and this goes right back to the topic about occult orders, right? The Nation of Islam speaks of 24 scientists, right? Moorish Science Temple of America speaks of 7 sages.
Right.
The Shiite Muslims, you have 12 are Shiaism and 7 are Shiaism. Yes.
Wow, brother. I never heard of 7 is Shiaism.
The Ismailis are 7 are Shiaism.
Yep.
See that?
They call themselves the Seveners.
That's the Seveners. Correct. Now, we know, we just spoke of religious organizations, didn't we?
Yeah.
Didn't we just speak of faith traditions?
Right.
Nation of Islam, Moorish Science of America, Shiaism. Am I saying we're Shiites? No. I'm showing you parallels. Right. But this parallel exists in one other place in a major way. That's true occult and secret orders.
Right.
Absolutely.
True occult and secret orders, they call it a magical link with the secret chiefs.
Right, that's right. And what did the message about the reality of God?
Has no power.
And what did the messenger say? He said after the deportation of the moon, 60 trillion years, said God withdrew from the people. But they talked about the knowledge of God, the true knowledge of God being held in secret. Wasn't taught in the public.
Come on.
It wasn't taught in the public.
That's right.
Right? And we know that when men had spoken about that in the public, they was killed in many regards. Halaj and the rest. These men were stoned.
Halaj says, and al-Haq got his head chopped off.
He ain't got his head chopped off.
He said, I am the truth. Oh, nope.
And one thing ones don't know, and well, I can't say ones don't know, what some don't know, maybe a lot don't know, right?
Mhm.
Is that these masters that we're talking about, these masters that we're talking about operate in both the seen and the unseen.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
these particular masters, let's take it to the Holy Quran and the Moorish Science Temple of America, right? In certain places in the Moorish Science Temple of America, we see that Jesus was having conversations with people that weren't necessarily contemporary with his time.
During the Transfiguration.
Oh.
During the where you know, I promise you, I was just talking with was it the who was I talking with about this? One of my members, right? Because they weren't familiar with it. I said, "You familiar with the Transfiguration?" They said, "Nah." I said, "Knowing what you know, you need to go back in that Bible and take a look at it. Tell me what you think." They came back. They said, "Yo, wait a minute. Jesus could already transmute his flesh before he got put on the cross."
Mm.
See that?
And hey, could you give us a demonstration, Sharif? And this will be a gift for the listening audience.
Sure.
Could you demonstrate the degree of the Grotto Pour and in conjunction with the Moorish Science Temple of America Holy Quran?
Brother Khalil is familiar with this. Sure. Woo, the Grotto Reformer, right? When I first read this is an old Egyptian 18th dynasty Egyptian ritual conducted in the pyramid. When I read about it, I almost.
Are you talking about from that black and silver book?
You already know, bro.
I think I put it up on the jaw, right? I had put it up on the page, right?
Yo.
Yes, sir.
So I promise you, without going into a crazy bunch of detail, I'll just say this. In the book, or in that particular ritual, there's a box like a shaped in the form of a cross that the candidate is placed in, and his hands and feet are bound, and he lays there for 3 days, and during that time period, his soul travels. Right, and on the third day, he's led out on the eastern point of the temple at the rising of the sun. When I'm reading this, I'm like, wait. So I had to pull open the Holy Quran and Moorish Science Temple of America and crack open chapter 18. And then cracking open chapter 18, I'm like, wait a minute. Now, Jesus did not sleep within the tomb. The body is manifest of soul, but soul is without its manifest. And in the realm of souls unmanifest, the Lord went and taught. He opened up the prison doors and set the prisoners free, broke the chain of captive souls, led the captives to the light. Here we go. To your point, brother Seven. He sat in council with the patriarchs and prophets of the olden times. The masters of all times and climes he met. And in the great assemblies, he stood forth and told the story of his life on earth and of his death and sacrifice for man. Now we know that on the higher planes, time doesn't function the same way.
Because there is none. It's not there.
See what I'm saying?
There is none right there.
That also brings me to another point that Brother Khalil made earlier about speaking from the highest plane of spirit life, being able to penetrate, how we would say it in certain orders, if your consciousness can penetrate into that space, right?
Absolutely.
So there's the story in the Holy Quran and the Moorish Science Temple of America where yeah, there it is. I'm looking at it right now. Where Jesus saves Claudius and Juliet from drowning. Right? And after he did it, 1,000 people saw them. And when they get onto the land, Jesus says this. Now, I want you, Brother Khalil, keep what you said in mind about at that point, you enter in a space where your consciousness is non-local.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Jesus said, "You men of Rome, I am the resurrection and the life. They that are dead shall live, and many that live will never die. By the mouth of gods and demigods, Allah spoke unto your fathers long ago. But now he speaks to you through perfect man. He sent his son Jesus in human flesh to save the world. And as I lifted from the watery grave and saved these servants of Tiberius, so Jesus will lift the sons and daughters of the human race, yea, every one of them, from darkness and from the grave of carnal things to light and everlasting life." Hold on. Who's talking right now? Was Jesus speaking of himself in third person?
Absolutely not.
Ooh, see that?
Oh, yeah.
What do we say after he came? What's taught after he did his 40 days? Jesus did his 40 days at the beginning of his holy ministry. Says that his friends came to minister to him after 40 days, and then what? In the consciousness of holy breath, he went into the camps of John and taught. Right, brother Khalil knows this, right? And a particular one of the Golden Dawn rituals, right? You go in one way, you don't come out the other way. As a matter of fact, you come out as Osiris risen, but you ain't go in that way.
Absolutely. If done correctly.
You come out as Osiris risen.
Well, that became the whole reason of the self-initiation rituals. Because you can get the degrees.
Yeah.
But have you developed to what the degree represent?
Yo, okay. How many people, Brother Khalil, in your experiences, to your point right there, have gone through a ritual but didn't get initiated?
Every last one. I had to say every last one. Every last one. I ain't seen it. I ain't seen it. Shit, you know what I mean? I ain't seen it, and I'm not talking bad, but I haven't seen it. But you will see it more of the orders,
yes,
than you would see it in Masonry. I've seen some very interesting things.
Yes, sir.
Dealing with the sciences, of them inner,
right,
and how they operate, because there's sets of visualization, meditations, and things like that you have to go through.
Yes.
I don't pick any of them being greater than each other.
Right.
I think all of them have a set for you.
Right.
If you utilize it, it will manifest what it is that you need to do. Our messenger said, meditate upon the mother plane and you can hear her engines.
Come on, brother.
That's a science.
Yes, it is.
Now, it's not a question of whether the mother plane exists or not.
Right.
The messenger said that it had a literal and a spiritual meaning.
Correct.
So if you're speaking from a spiritual possession, then what does the mother plane represent? It represents the state of samadhi. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, when you're dealing with it from a realistic perspective, and you're cross-referencing the sciences to know the root of a thing.
Yes, sir.
It becomes very clear what you're reading and what you're looking at.
Yeah.
I've told my brother to certain books that I tell the God to go and look in them.
Right.
And to read them.
Right.
And the reason why is that because, thank you, it will show the origin of a thing.
Yes.
And it will show you the depthness of what something is telling you. And where is it leading you to go? Do you see what I mean? That's how come it's ironic. I must say, when I look at Moorish brothers,
yes,
make videos against Freemasonry. Now, I have no problem with you against the European institution.
Right.
No problem.
Right.
You don't got to join. You don't have to.
That's not your thing. I'm not convincing you to do it.
Correct.
Because everything is before you.
That's right.
The messenger taught us that he broke the circle of 12.
Right.
Prophet Noble Drew Ali very clearly
took the cover. There you go.
They took off the cover.
That's right.
So the mystery is done. It's right before your eyes. If you choose to discipline yourself to get it.
Woo!
But you cannot read the Circle 7 Quran and then say, I'm against the occult.
Hold on, brother. Whoa, because you finna go there. So before you go there, I know I know where you're going. Okay. Let's go. More Science Temple of America, Holy Quran, chapter 1.
Yes, sir.
In chapter 1, we hear demonstrated of Allah the One.
Come on.
Allah the 3.
That's right.
And Allah the 7.
That's right.
Now we and this is gonna be brother Sharif, you know how this could get, and both of you know how this could get in the Islamic world. Yes. When we start speaking about Allah the 1, the 3, and the 7. Yes. Especially in light of what is commonly thought of in the concept of monotheism, right?
Right. Ooh, come on, brother.
So now our Holy Quran or the More Science Temple of America tells us that the Hebrews call these 7 spirits Elohim, right? We call them the 7 eyes of Allah. Yeah, the 7 creative spirits, right? Yes. We call them the Elohim too. However, could you brothers go into that concept, kind of dig into the concept itself and some of the origins of it?
I'd love to. I want to speak briefly. I'll speak briefly and quick because I know our brother's gonna go in all the way. So here we go. Right?
I'm not. This is gonna be.
Remember, Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that the European put our people to sleep. Right? Prophet Noble Drew Ali, right, said that we're given the church, the Church of Christianity back to the European nations. It was founded by their forefathers for their earthly salvation. He did not say divine salvation. He said earthly. And there was not a strike against or a knock against the Europeans. What he was talking about specifically, right, was the purpose of what Emperor Constantine and crew did in Rome with the teachings of Jesus was to allow for the economic and social progress of Europeans collectively worldwide. That said, right, our way of thinking had to be put to sleep. Hence the Spanish Inquisition. We were terrorized out of our way of thinking. We were terrorized out of our worldview. And in our worldview, spirituality is a technology. We saw it as tech, high tech. And so the mechanics of creation went underground, became secret. That's another link between secret orderisms and true Islam in the modern time. See? So today, when people say religion, they say, okay, even the believers of religion will say creation is here, God is here. They don't touch each other. They are not connected. Or they don't know the connection. Right? But Pythagoras said God forever does what? Geometry. Meaning he makes himself known in his creation. But so what are the mechanics of that? What are the details? Those things have been removed. And for the first time in ages, right? Says when the time was appointed by Allah, he loosened the keys and freed these secrets. And the first time in ages, these secrets have been delivered to the hands of the Muslims in North America. So when we say Allah the 1, Allah the 3, Allah the 7, we're looking at a mathematical way that Allah geometrizes. In other words, how oneness diversifies into creation. You see? Allah the 1, totally beyond our senses. Why? Because our senses depend on duality. And oneness causes our senses to fall apart because there's no duality for them to work. A law of the three is as close as human perception can get to describing, because a law of the three is at the point where Allah has the divine lust and desire to make himself known, to create. The triune Allah, we would say, right? And then Allah of the seven is what? Allah of the seven. It's the administrative staff for creation. And we made you, old man, from a single male and female into nations and tribes, that you may know one another and not despise the other. Let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let him have, come on. Why we got 7 chakras?
Why do we have 3 dimensions that we exist on simultaneously?
Come on, brother. Come on. All right, go ahead, Khalil. I gotta get
I'm listening, God.
I gotta hear
from you. I'm listening to the God's will. I'm listening. I'm a student at this time. I want the gods to break it down.
But in short, Prophet Noble Drew Ali and then Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us they restored back to the mechanics of creation. You see what I'm saying? Of how these things are tied together. If man is destined and ordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul and the plane of things made manifest, shouldn't we know these things? Shouldn't we know how much the earth weighs? Shouldn't we know the circumference? Shouldn't we know why there's 7 days in a week and 52 weeks in a year? Shouldn't we know? Okay, see?
Isn't the planet Earth called the home of Islam?
How about that? How about that? Shouldn't we have see, and this goes back to study, real study. Brother Khalil brought it up again. Real study, right? The way it's said for the military minded, if a superior officer gives a suggestion, what is that? That's an order. All right. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So if Prophet Drew Ali gives us information where Jesus mentions what can I say? If he mentions let me think of something. Here we go. Chapter 17, Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Symbol of America. He says, in the flesh of man is the essence of the resurrection of the dead. This essence, quickened by the holy breath, will raise the substance of the body to higher tone and make it like the bodies of the planes above, which human eyes cannot behold. There's a holy ministry in death, right? And he says, the actions of the holy breath until the fixed is solved. The body must disintegrate, and this is death. And then Allah breathes upon this pliant substance, just as He breathes upon the chaos of the deep when the worlds are formed and life springs forth from death. The carnal form is changed to form divine, right? In this, we have what? The chemistry of mortal life, the ministry of death, the mystery of deific life. That's Blue Lodge. But anyway, my point being is this. If we're studying properly, the next thing we need to be doing is looking for an actual methodology to make that happen. If we're just looking at it and saying, "Oh, that's cool," that's just like me. That's like Allah putting the keys to a brand new Lamborghini in my mailbox, and me sitting on the couch bragging about I got keys to a Lamborghini, and I never go out and get the keys.
1,000%.
You know what I'm saying?
1,000. Right? I mean, that can't be made no simpler than that.
In other words, if we're told about it, we need to be about the methodology. Okay, how do I get that?
I agree.
Now we're digging deep. Now we're studying. See? Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I'm done.
No, listen. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I don't have a problem being a student, brother. You know what I mean? I like to sit down and listen to the gods break it down too. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll be sitting and be like, damn. It's getting a little serious right there, ain't you?
Nah, that's us bouncing off each other because you got me amped up, bro, for real. You know?
No, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to it. Just the different going into the Circle 7 Quran,
Yes, sir.
and the science that the God, was able to put together and present to the world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To many degrees is looked upon, but it ain't meditated upon.
Come on.
Or what's being told and what's being taught to them.
Yo.
Because there's a difference of it, There's a difference of that meditation. The messenger said, when Brother Jabril, Minister Jabril, had asked the messenger in regards to understanding an aspect of the problem book, messenger said, just keep reading it.
Ooh.
Keep studying it.
Ooh, that's real.
Because there's a science to that. Whatever the mind is directed to, it is magnified.
Yes, sir.
Then it begins to seek the resources. Because for some reason, we don't understand that the mind enters into many planes of existence.
Right.
It's not just limited to this. Our utilization of the mind is to this plane, because that's the denseness of our thought and the mundane aspects of our aptitude and what we progress ourselves to be. When we begin to go deeper into the mind, we reach a plane where there are no thoughts. We reach a plane where thoughts become lessened. And then the images of things begins to progress until eventually you leave that particular plane into silence, right? So we go through all, man, I don't want to get too deep onto that stuff. You make me about to go. You there, but
you were about to go there, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay here though. I'm gonna stay here though, right? Because you can give the deepest knowledge on earth.
Yes, sir.
And it won't set a person free.
No.
If you give too much knowledge, they say you think you know everything.
Right.
A group will never say, I say you're lying.
Right.
Another group will say you're not that deep.
Right.
And then you'll have a group that'll recite exactly what you said, but won't research if what you said is true.
Exactly.
I could sit and say, go lay down on the floor inside the darkness. But make sure that you lay down on your back.
Right.
Now what I want you to do, I want you to start breathing. And when you breathe, I want you to push your stomach out, and I want you to pull your stomach back in and pull that air out.
That's right.
The faster that you begin to breathe, it will lower your thinking.
Yes.
Now what I want you to do, I want you to stop paying attention to your body. And we're going to do that first, but I want you to concentrate on whether if your feet is cold, whether if your hands are cold. Feel the tingling sensations that's going through your skin. And I want you to begin to do that until it amplifies, until that becomes to such an extent, until it's a little bit driving you crazy. But whatever you do, do not stop breathing.
Correct.
Now what I want you to do, I want you to start seeing or feel like air is passing through your skin. As if your pores have opened up even greater. And as your pores begin to open up even greater, the air begins to go through it as if you're flowing through, as if you don't even exist.
Brother, can I pause you?
Yes, sir.
Listen, I just want to tell the viewers. I hope y'all are writing this down. What he just gave up or what he's given up. He just gave up a methodology to consciously pop out of your physical body.
He definitely did. And
science.
And I like to say this,
science.
just to give y'all the key.
Yeah.
One name for what he just demonstrated is called fire breathing.
That's right.
There is a way that you can make yourself feel everything as if you do not exist.
As if you do not exist.
But that isn't denying that you do exist. That's the secret.
Mm-hmm.
To deny that you do exist. That's the separation from us and all of creation. It's because we think we exist.
Right.
But we know we don't exist if we think of it from a real deep perspective.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
It is a protein that gives you the ability to transmute light into form.
Yes, sir.
It's just proteins. It's chemical relays. That's it.
That's right.
Because the logical assessment is, and I always say the same thing. I ask you, do you enjoy your wife? And you would say yes.
Yes.
You would say, how do it feel when you kiss her cheek? You'll tell me you like kissing your wife, right?
Yes.
Okay. When you meet your brothers and y'all shake hands, you appreciate shaking each other's hands, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Never touch though.
You never touch. You can never have intercourse.
Right.
You can never do none of this.
Right.
But you are conditioned to believe that is so. We live in a world of illusion.
That's fact.
Thinking that we exist.
That's a fact.
My mother wrote something, texted me and my brothers the other day. And she said, if somebody was to ask you to identify yourself and ask you who you are, what will you say? I text back, nothing. I'm nothing. I think I'm something.
Yes.
I identify as something.
Yes.
But I'm nothing.
Yes.
That's the secret to all of this.
That's fact.
Because when you believe that you are something, or you identify as a thing, that segregates you from everything.
Right.
This is just us expressing ourselves.
Yes, sir.
This is the triune God manifesting itself to the seven.
Come on, brother.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That's what this is, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But it just depends.
I want to read something, brother. You and what you just said inspired me. I got like crazy goosebumps right now. Yo, crazy. So I'm gonna read something from a good friend of mine, right? Good friend of mine by the name of Alan Greenfield, out of one of his older books. But he's quoting Charles Stansfield Jones, Freder Ahad, which was the magical
Freder Ahad, who actually got himself when he reached over the abyss.
Yes.
He undressed himself.
Yeah.
And he ran in the midst of the world in the streets naked.
Naked. That's right, brother.
Because he was free.
Yes. Yes.
He was free. He had reached that state.
He reached that state. Now, Freder Ahad, now listen to this. He's using the Hebrew alphanumeric code. I tend to say that. The mystery, and this goes back to what you said about thing versus nothing or no thing. Get it?
Right.
All right.
That's right.
The mystery, I'm quoting him now. The mystery of which is that self is also selflessness. And the numeration for numeration 31, the number 31 is 3 is 1. Which is none. And the reverse of this is 13, which is unity and love. Hold on. I'm not done. I want to read that again. And then I'm going to read another quote. The mystery of which is that self, in parentheses, God, is also selflessness, which is La. La in Aramaic is
La
not.
ilah. La.
Al is what? The.
The.
Come on. And for numeration, 31 is 3 is 1, which is none. That's La. See that?
But that was the word that Aleister Crowley said that the prophet brought.
You already know. Okay, you already know where I'm going. See, okay, hold on. Here we go. And the reverse of this number is 13, which is unity and love. What's he talking about? A-L, L-A.
Absolutely.
All right. This is from a chapter in his book called The Central Password, The Dream of H1331.
And let's make this clear. That's straight Crowley.
You already know.
That's straight up Crowley.
Already
straight
know.
Down.
You already know. You already know, right? In his book, Crowley's Book of Lies, which is the book that caused the OTO to approach him and basically gangster him into initiation.
Absolutely.
Because he exposed a lot of the OTO secrets
in the Book of Lies.
In the Book of Lies.
But the people can't see it.
Right.
They saw it, but they, everybody else couldn't see it, and that's how he became a member.
Come on.
Because he revealed so much in that Book of Lies.
There you go. So, here we go. The Book of Law, Liber Alvel Legis, which is the book that was dictated to Crowley over 3 days in Cairo, Egypt in 1904 by what they call a preterhuman intelligence by the name of Iwas, whom Crowley invoked.
Talk about it.
By reciting Al-Ikhlas.
That's right.
All right, here we go.
He cited it 1,000 times.
1,000 times.
Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yulid wa lam yulad wa lam
1,000 times.
Yes.
Cited 1,000 times. He learned it from his from a Sufi master, who because of his degree, because of Crowley degree, the Sufi master recognized it and began to teach him the Arabic Kabbalah.
There you go. There you go. Right. So now this is what Alan was saying. The Book of the Law, and it is in a certain Kabbalistic sense, then the Book of Allah, or God and not God, the book of the union of opposites. Hold on. So the reverse of 31 is, of course, 13, the Hebrew value of Ahad. Number one. Also unity and love. The interplay of 31, which is God or thee, and 13 and not are united with love and unity. This is confirmed in another sense in that 31 equals God in the Hebrew Kabbalah, while it's reversed, 13 equals not or emptiness. What is the password for the AA, brother? There is no God.
1,000%.
Okay. So
but let's tell them the context of what that means.
Whoa.
Right. So we interpret.
So that and that goes to the inner meaning. That goes to the inner meaning of the Shahada.
Thank you, brother.
You go in there. But see, that was the word of. That's why Prophet Muhammad was considered a magus.
Yes, sir.
He's a magus of that degree. He would be 9 equal 2.
9 equal 2.
Right. And the reason why that he said he was a magus because of the word that he uttered then. That word is Allah of the new Aeon. But when you have La ilah, it means no God. What does that mean? It ain't meaning that there is no supreme intelligence or divine consciousness.
Right.
It means that there is no God but man.
See? Now.
That is what it means.
That's so deep. See? So watch. Like as you brought up the Shahada, both of you brought up the Shahada, right? We misinterpreted it as saying there is no God but Allah. The way a more proper relative to what we're talking about, a more proper interpretation or translation is there is no God, there is only Allah. You see what I'm
Now
saying?
that's an interpretation for the Sufi.
Right.
We got to be real about this.
Right.
For the Sufi, there is no reality but Allah.
Come on.
Right? There's none. And that's what that represents, right? A negation that occurs.
Right.
Right. It is a Sufi technique that is used actually in zikr.
There you go.
Right?
Yes.
Absolutely. To remove and to negate it. But within Crowley's argument to the Aeon,
yes,
because Crowley taught of a new book coming.
That's right. Yes, he did. Yes,
Who else taught of a new book? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? Taught of a new book.
A new book. A new book.
He absolutely did.
Right.
He spoke of ages of when gods ruled. So you went through the age of Isis, to the age of Osiris, to the age of Horus, the Christ child and conquering child that comes with the new word, which represents man is God.
Man is God.
Right?
Right.
So, which I must put that Master Farah Muhammad did that.
Right.
The new age.
Right.
Man is God.
Man is God.
That's it. No more, no less. Now, people will say that's a divine thing of ego. It's not. It's not. I take Rumi's position on that.
Right.
No, what we are saying is that there's no God but man, is meaning that nothing else exists. We're not speaking about man just in the formation that we have of his physiology. Because his physiology is an illusion.
Right.
Right?
It's an illusion.
But it's talking about what is the true man.
Come on. Come on.
Who is the true man?
Come on. The way Prophet Drew Ali taught it in our lesson, in our instructions, to your point, brother Khalil, he said, man,
yes,
flat out. He says this. He said, man's ideal is his God.
1000%.
So as man unfolds, his God unfolds. Man's God today, tomorrow is not God.
Let me put this.
Yes, sir.
Prophet Muhammad is considered and is emblematic of perfection.
Yes.
Ibn Arabi states the following.
Yes, sir.
Muhammad's is the wisdom of singularity because he is the most perfect creation of this humankind, for which reason the whole affair of creation begins and ends with him. So I say, so here Ibn Arabi is not defining Muhammad as a human being, but also as a station.
Come on.
Ibn Arabi states within the dust, nothing is nearer to the light in reception than the reality of Muhammad, which is called the intellect. So he is the Lord of the world in its entirety and the first thing to become manifest within existence. That's from Arabi's Meccan Revelations. Now look.
That's deep.
Therefore, upon the Muslim Selig, murdering of the 4 devils, he receives the second portion of his reward, a free transportation to the holy city of Mecca to see Brother Muhammad.
Right.
This is not referencing the physical man, but rather the Hakika Muhammadiyya, or the reality of Muhammad.
Yes.
This being the outer Nur Muhammad, or the light of Muhammad.
Yes.
This light of being, or as Arabi states, the first intellect or original state of being or creation. It is the quintessential essence of all things. Muhammad is the original man.
Woo.
The holy city of Mecca is not a place sitting in Arabia. The holy city of Mecca is the purified heart of man.
Come on.
They are Muslims and Selics seek to travel into his precincts to meet Brother Muhammad, those true selves. We learned this in our lesson. For Allah is the God in the earth and in the heavens above, and is just and true, and there is no unrighteousness in him. That's 237 of our Quran, of Muslim lesson number 2.
That's powerful, bro.
So we're dealing with a science, right?
Sir.
What is the gods?
Come on.
And who are the mortals?
Right.
Because when we say who is the original man, and at that point, when they're talking about Muhammad, they're speaking about the Isan al-Kamil.
Yeah.
What he represents.
Yes.
If we are speaking in other systems, we would call him the Atman.
Right.
The first intellect will belong to Keter.
Right.
That is the principle, the primordial state of existence. Right.
That's right, bro.
We learned that inside of our lesson. Student enrollment.
Yes.
Who is the original man? Number 2 is who is the colored man?
Yes, sir.
So there's a duality that exists within the original creation. Oh,
absolutely. Man. No. Absolutely.
Oh, man. I love these lessons. I'm just telling you. I love them.
Yeah, I love it, bro.
I love my lessons. Go ahead, God.
Our president leader, Brother R. Jones Bay, More Science of America Incorporated, said this a while back, a number of years ago. To your point that you just made, he said, you know, there is, this is what he said. And this is what you said about Muhammad, not just being there was the personality of Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad, right, of 1400 years ago. And then there is the egregore of Muhammad.
Oh, of course.
All right.
Then now here's the station of the Sufic bodies.
Come on, brother. So, Brother R. Jones Bay said this. My leadership said this. He said, we need to learn, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, we need to learn to love instead of hate. He said, Allah is love, and Jesus is love made manifest. And when we begin to live the life of love, we begin to experience the life of Jesus. Not the history of a man 2,000 years ago, but the life of Jesus. In other words, we immerse ourselves. We immerse ourselves into the station of Jesus. And then Jesus begins what? That life. Not the personality of 2,000 years ago, but that life begins to show itself to the world through us. See? Through us. Man. That's
the science of it all right there.
This stuff's powerful.
Because we are growth and this is development into the higher auspices of being. And it sits at the recesses of our teachings. And the secret to open up that door is love.
It's love, brother.
And that's why it was made the Master Mason word.
Ooh, come on, bro.
Before it became Hebrew, it was Arabic.
It was Arabic.
And let me just, the wisdom of that, right? The messenger said, only by true repentance and reform can we escape the consequences of our errors. That's in our Muslim rules number 16. Now look at this. In Sufism and in Islam, you have a station called Tawbah.
Yes, sir.
Tawbah is translated as repentance.
That's right.
Now look at this. In the English, it devalues the deepest application. Brother Minister Farrakhan listed 8 steps of atonement as follows. Now people underestimated it, but it's right there. Yes. Number 1, someone must point out the wrong. Number 2, acknowledgement of wrong. Number 3, confess the fault first to Allah God, then to those offended. Number 4, repentance, a feeling of remorse or contrition or shame for the past conduct which was wrong and sinful. Number 5, atonement, meaning to make amends and reparations for the wrong. Number 6, forgiveness by the offended party to cease, feel offense and resentment against another for the harm done. Number 7, reconciliation and restoration, meaning to become friendly and peaceable again. But number 8, perfect union with Allah God and with each other. Now look at this. Atonement are the stages of Tawbah.
Right.
The deeper significance and application of Tawbah is outlined in step number 8. Perfect union with Allah God and with each other. True Tawbah is the progression of the Salik or Muslim to the end goal, which is oneness with Allah. This is done through stages by the cleansing and purifying of the nafs, which are vices of the ego.
Right.
Love is the alchemical fire, which purifies the elixir that grants us eternal life.
Correct.
We are taught that love is an elevation of understanding of those who are original, and that understanding is a picture one makes in his mind of knowledge, and that knowledge is to listen, know, and observe. Knowledge is the foundation. Listen, know, and observe equals knowledge. In order for Tauba to be ascertained, we must go through the process of learning ourselves by the process of muhasaba, or self-auditing.
Self-auditing.
The process of self, and that's Sufism. So brothers think I'm talking about Scientology. I am not.
Exactly.
Let's continue. The process of self-auditing is peeling back the layers of the false self or weakness of one's being and being truthful with oneself. It is the measuring of our ways and actions internally and externally. Thus, the messenger teaches that we must be clean internally and externally at all times. By our internal cleansing, we remove the debris and residue that has us weighing other than ourselves upon the scales of Maya.
Right.
By truly cleansing ourselves, we prepare our seat in heaven. That once prepared, we will sit ourselves in at once.
At once.
At once is the same as at one mint. At one mint means to be at one. At one is oneness with Allah.
Praise Allah. That's powerful.
And what came to mind?
That's the whole secret of Sufism.
Yes.
And as you was reading that, quite a couple things came to mind as you were reading that, man. One thing came to mind is that Act 7 came to mind.
Yes, sir.
You know that the body should be clean with water and the heart with love. You know.
That's right.
And then it also made me think of love is that which saves,
creates, destroys, and saves.
Destroys.
That's right.
That's why it's the true Master Mason word, brother.
Yes,
that's the true word. It is love.
That's right.
A master cannot be a master if he has an inkling of hatred,
right,
of jealousy, of envy. It must be selflessness. You can only truly be selfless when you are love itself.
Woo.
You can't be everything else. You can't murder the four devils if you don't acquire love.
Right.
And when love become who you truly are, then you can understand your true will.
That's right, bro.
And
when you understand your true will, then you will understand exactly why Elijah said love, an elevation of understanding of those who are original. But what is original? It's representing that one in its original state and condition of its being. It's not talking about, because you're black. You could be black and be unoriginal.
Right.
What do you think we are looking at today?
Woo. Come on, bro.
Black and unoriginal.
Right.
We are colored. That's why the messenger said the devil has colored us with his coloring.
What do we say? Colored has been anything that has been what? Painted, stained, varnished.
Absolutely. And we walk around stained. We are stained.
Right.
That's why the messenger said, you and I are not a making model of the original man. You have been experimented on by the white man for 400 years. So that's him giving you a point of reference.
How about that?
But we was being experimented on in the mathematical code that was given in the understanding of Yaqub being born with a determined idea. That was giving us the mathematical code right then. Because what is going on inside the original man, original nation, to give birth to someone with a determined idea in order to make somebody to want to try to destroy you?
There was already dissatisfaction.
It was already dissatisfaction. So when we take Yaqub and we place him as the ego. Right?
I remember you reading an old lesson. Said Yaqub was not a man. Yaqub was man himself.
Man himself. So we dealing with what is the ego.
Right.
And what are we really dealing with when we look at the science of it?
Come on, brother.
Because see, you and I be grafted out every day.
Right.
What did the prophet say? Prophet Muhammad of 1400 years ago. He said, you know, when you look at that woman, that first time is not a sin, but when you look the second time, it is.
Right.
But what is the science behind it?
Right.
We are taught that Yaqub made his made man by murdering the original.
Right.
And marrying the unoriginal with each other. The original essence of a thing is the original state of a thing.
Right.
That's why the Holy Quran say Islam is the nature of creation. That's fitra.
Yes.
If somebody was walking in front of you and they almost fell, what would you try to do? You'd try to catch them.
Correct.
You don't have to be taught to do that.
That's right.
It is of your nature to do that because that's the original essence and nature for which you was born.
Right.
This is what you are.
Exactly.
We are brought to that in our degree.
Right.
Muslim lesson 1, question number 9 and answer number 9. Did you ever ask yourself, why did he say the universe is everything, sun, moon, and stars? They are planets. Planets are something made or grown from the beginning. And holy is something that's not been diluted, mixed, or tampered with in any form. Stop. Why would he say that? And then right after that, tell you that planets are something made or grown from the beginning, then tell you holy is something that has not been diluted, mixed, or tampered with in any form. How do that correlate with each other? One, he directs you to the planets. When do the planets go off course? When do the planets revolt against its original creation and is being set into play? When do they ever deny the motion of their maker?
Right.
And its will that set it into play?
Right.
We could say the causative principle. Right?
Right.
If that relates to the human being, then what is the difference of the human being and the planet? Let's ask the question. The messenger said that the universe was a circle before the creation of man. Now he said you got these egg-shaped forms.
Wow.
So what is the wobble in the man? So man is separate from out of his original nature, from out of his original designation, out of his original state of being. Therefore, he is no longer holy. He is diluted, mixed, and tampered within every form.
That's right.
This is what he's alluding to.
That's right.
Because if you look at the planets, then you look at how you should and I should be. When do the sun deny bringing heat to a rapist?
Right.
When has the sun denied giving heat to the virtuous woman or man?
Right.
The sun gives with compassion and love.
To all.
To all.
Right.
Just like the Holy Quran of Mecca even states, it said that Allah called to the heavens and the earth and asked them would they come together willingly or unwillingly.
Right.
Absolutely. But that brings you into the 7 spirits.
Yes, sir.
Because when you think,
there we go.
when you begin to get into the 7 spirits, then what they make a reference to is to the planetary forces or energies, whether it's if my memory, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. Right? So that would be them. Now each one is supposedly governed by an intelligence.
Right.
When we are thinking from a cultic position, but it has always been like that in our ancient sciences.
That's
These
fact.
become creative principles.
That's fact.
For which governs the evolutionary course of creation. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you have your triune God, and then you have your 7 spirits.
That's right.
This is what it's making reference to.
That's right. We have brother Khalil, we have a tradition that as it relates to Allah the One, Allah the Three, Allah the Seven, right?
Yes, sir.
That, and how can I put it? It relates to it because we'll say Allah the One, Allah the Three, Allah the Seven, and then another number. And it relates directly to why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that there's 10 questions in that student enrollment and not 11.
You know, the messenger called that the Big 10.
The Big 10.
And when he said that we have 10 questions in the student enrollment, he said because we have 10 questions up there in the universe. And that is what he was making reference to. So he was like, you know, we have 10 questions because, and I wrote about it if I could do.
Yes, sir.
He's saying, look at this. Islam is the nature of creation, Holy Quran 30:30. The Arabic word for nature is fitra. Fitra is the original state, constitutional essence of nature of a thing. The Big 10 represents our solar system. Our solar system consists of the sun and 9 planets and stars. Mr. Muhammad called these 10 questions. We are taught in lesson 1-9, and then I go into the breakdown of what that actually means, right? But if you look at it, they asked him a question. He said, that's our concentration of study in the universe.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
We are undeveloped that walks around thinking that we know something. We're arrogant without achieving anything to be arrogant for.
Right.
That's how come the messenger said one of the signs of a hypocrite is priding yourself in your earthly gains and knowledge.
Oof. Prophet Drew Ali said, the highest of human knowledge is but blindness and folly.
We too caught up in the smallest of things when the greatest religion is to do unto others as you will have done unto you.
Come on, brother.
I don't need to read a book.
Right.
If I do unto you what I would want done unto me, and we fail in it, that's our wobble in our human nature.
I'm glad you brought that up. That is the wobble, right? We were set on a particular path of process, a progressive process. We are trying to get back to the original.
Absolutely. We're trying to complete that circle because each one has a stop. You see that?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Got to circle the 7, bro.
Yes.
Yeah, you see each one got a little break right there. It's a little stop.
Come on.
We're dealing with that Asiatic calendar.
That's right. Come on. Like,
we're dealing with that Asiatic calendar right there.
Again, brother, you pointed it out earlier. We have way more in common than we have at variance, bro.
Oh, 1,000%, man.
I
don't see a separation.
And when we see and when we look and man, hey, to the listening audience, again, has been one of them ones again. I think ones will have to revisit this stream. Get your pens and your paper out.
Yeah.
Take you some notes.
Yeah.
Because we're going to continue to do this. The next stream I plan to go for a while, and then we'll open up the floor for question and answers the next time.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure both of these brothers would love that because they're both teachers, so they love questions. I
would rather that.
Plus we're learning too. I'm learning.
Yes,
1,000%. You see how I came out when you started talking, I became quiet. Yeah, you see? I say, Well, go ahead. Yeah, let me think that one over. Let me revisit that again.
Oh, one other thing I want to throw out there. The brother, the Nation of Islam, one of the things that, or one of the many things that I have a very high level of respect for the Chief's Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's because it's also what speaks to one of my personal self-interests, is the whole UFO phenomenon. So
Yes,
I've always gravitated to the teachings on the mother plane. And I've also been an active UFO researcher, right?
because the mother plane is real.
Come on, bro. And then
as real as it's going to get. They don't have to believe it. It's been written about throughout the ages of life. Brother, it is real.
Actual fact, brother. And the fact, shout out to my brother, Dr. Wesley Muhammad. Some of his recent work, he's been cooking on this very topic. But the fact that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, with a 4th grade education, was teaching on things that are still considered above top secret in the 30s.
Remember, he drew the mother plane.
And they confiscated the whole chalkboard.
And then they came and took it.
He did what?
He drew it.
Yeah.
Wow.
They took
drew it on the board, and the devil came and took it.
Yeah, took the whole chalkboard. That's right.
He drew the mother plane.
Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, and this goes back to something else I had said earlier about, I'm talking about us in the Moorish Science Temple of America. I had this conversation again with Brother R. Jones Bay, my leadership. We were just talking about it. He agreed. To know means to do, people, right? Question 38. What is an angel? Angels thought of Allah manifested in human flesh, right? What are angels used for? It carry messages to the 4 corners of the world to all nations, right? Who's guarding the holy city of Mecca to keep the unbelievers away? Angels. What is the modern name for those angels? Asiatic. What does it say to their skin? Olive, right? Do we have any relation to the Moorish Americans have any relation to those angels? Yes, we all have the same father and mother. Isn't that what it says?
Yes, sir.
Then what people represent the higher self? The angels who protect the holy city of Mecca. Hold on. Chapter 45 says what? The Turks are the chief protectors of the creed of Islam. I'm going to give you an example of how many of us in the Moorish Science of America weren't paying attention. Right? You saw the connection I just made in our own teaching with those who protect the holy city and Turkey and angels, right? Our brother Khalil knows he's going to know exactly what I'm talking about when I mention this name of one of 2 men that went to visit Honorable Elijah Muhammad and had dinner with him. Man's name, Semi Atakan.
1,000%.
Semi Atakan was sitting down with Honorable Elijah Muhammad with his partner, and they were quiet, didn't say a word, didn't smile, no nothing. And at one point, the other ministers were present. And at one point, Elijah Muhammad breaks the silence and he says, listen, in the book of Genesis, Abraham had got a similar visit from two angels. Or from 2, he just said 2 men. He said from 2 men. And Abraham asked them what their business was. He goes, so I'm asking you all, what is your business? And the men looked at him and said, our business is the same as the business of those that went to go visit Abraham. Hold on. Later, he introduces these men at a Savior's Day address.
74.
That's right. And this is what he says, Brother Sheikh 7, from the podium. Says that this man is from Turkey. They're scientists, and in your religious world, you would call them angels. And there was one of those who are currently keeping back the winds from the 4 corners of the world from destroying America. Right. Straight out of the questionnaire, brother. Straight out of the... We're not paying attention.
Yep, they definitely came to see the God.
We're not paying attention.
And then the thing is, at 74, they wasn't paying attention either.
And it was reported
because they didn't believe what he was trying to tell them.
They didn't believe it. Go ahead, Brother Sheikh 7.
And it was reported that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was visited as well.
Brother, hold on. You see, you was reading, you was tuning in. At a particular point, as a matter of fact, we know the month and the year was March 1929, when a particular individual went into open rebellion against Prophet Drew Ali. And then after he went into open rebellion, chased him around with a knife. And then there was a little bit of pandemonium, and then things got calmed down. Why? Because a man from Turkey, foreigner, quote unquote, stood up and said, if you harm one hair on his head, we will kill you all. See? Now, so that was deep. Shout out to my brother in Canada, brother Boris Muhammad.
Yes,
Boris
sir.
Muhammad found some information.
Bro, Boris Muhammad is the greatest citer I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
You
That
hear
brother
me?
really on it.
That boy is bad. He's bad.
Assalamu alaikum to the brother Boris.
Boris found some other information regarding Semiotic Khan, saying that he was either he himself or he was connected to those that were in charge of secreting the plans of the mother plane from Arabia to Japan.
You know, the messenger had talked about how they communicate.
Yes, sir.
And he said they use mental telepathy.
Yes, sir.
In order that the guards that was overseeing the building of it, that they was using mental telepathy to check in to make sure everybody was doing what they was supposed to do.
Right.
And what it was that they was building.
Right. Because of compartmentalization. That's right.
Absolutely. And on a spiritual level, that representing the nations of original people.
Come on, brother.
That even though it might appear that we are all distinct and we're separate, each of us are building a piece of the mother plane.
Hold on. You were just tuning in. So the head of the OTOA.
I knew you was going to go there. I knew you was going there, brother. I knew you was going to go there.
His name, Michael Berdio. This is what he said about a particular, See, we're speaking spiritually now. And not spooky. Spiritually, but not spooky. He says that he recognized that the system called Egyptian Rite Freemasonry, Rite of Memphis Mizraim. He said he recognized, now mind you, let me back up a little bit. When he's talking about the UFO, he's not excluding physical machinery. He's not excluding it. Because we know, as the brother Khalil pointed out, anything physical is an illusion, meaning it's a projection from a thought. Right? All right. So when he's speaking of UFO in this sense, he's speaking of a vehicle that transports consciousness to other worlds, other realms. He said he recognized the structure of the Rite of Memphis Mizraim to be the navigation and propulsion system of the UFO. Why would the impregnable doctrine of the Moorish Science Temple of America or the mathematical theology of the Nation of Islam be any different?
1000%.
And didn't the Prophet Noble Drew Ali say he was going to take us upward on
the apparatus on an incline? That's a fact. He said, "I've got airplanes, zeppelins, and apparatus."
Ooh.
It's a fact.
The beautiful thing is, when we understand that language, it'll be a very important thing.
Come on, brother.
When we can understand that language.
He passes from in 1929. That plane took flight that same year, bro.
Look at these adepts. I'm serious. You gotta look at them. These adepts sitting up here right in front of our faces. We caught up looking at the rig. We don't understand. We got pieces.
We got pieces, bro. Ain't that something?
We got pieces that have to be put together.
What you said was correct. See, that's deep right there, Mo. Hold on. See, that's deep. See, in the scientific world, especially in the above top secret world, especially, there's compartmentalization, meaning, like, let's take the Manhattan Project, right? Oppenheimer and those guys, they didn't know 100% what they were building when they were building it.
Neither did those who were building the mother plane, according to
And that is my point.
In Messenger Elijah Muhammad.
And brother Sheikh 7, that's my whole point. The fact that a man with a 4th grade education could speak to a high level protocol of compartmentalization means he was tuned in. See what I'm saying? The fact he even knew about it in the 30s means he was tuned in. You see what I'm saying? But on the spiritual sense, Brother Khalil just dropped a bomb. We all are building components, and we're not 100% sure of exactly what the finished product is going to look like.
We definitely don't. But what we do know, and this is the depthness of these things, right?
Yes.
We're going to all get there anyway.
Come on, brother.
Some going to take longer than others.
Right.
And for people who get caught up that when I say that we are immortal and we live forever, are we not taught that the Nation of Islam has no birth record?
That's right.
That it has no beginning or ending? That it is older than the sun, moon, and stars?
And Prophet Drew Ali said that the thoughts of Allah from the never-ending days to past, the everlasting days past, the never-ending days to come, and so is man.
Absolutely. And the prophet uses the word from ought to naught, from naught to ought, right?
Yes.
And what did the messenger say? He said, when we say nothing was out there, that doesn't mean that nothing was there. He said something was there. He said, but anything that is doing nothing is considered nothing. And look at the wording that he used. He say it has always been out there, but it was waiting for a time to bring it about. So he was speaking about a time of inertia.
Yes.
Inertia.
You see what I'm saying?
Major inertia.
Right. We're dealing with some things.
Yes.
It's the language.
The language.
But a universal truth remains universal.
That's fact.
Like I said, it's only one Quran. We living in that same Quran at this time.
Yes, sir.
We have multiple ones, which are ages and aeons of time. Even like when we read the book of Revelations, that means aeons of time.
Yes.
It's not talking about worlds. It's a wrong definition of the world, the end of the world. It's the end of an age.
End of an age.
That's what he's making reference to.
An age.
That's a fact.
So we're ending an age and we're entering another one.
The European psychology reinterpreted that to end of the world.
And it doesn't. Right. It's the end of an age, and we are ending that age. The messenger gives the ending of that age within approximately 10,000 years.
There you go.
We are leaving out of it.
Right.
This is what we're dealing with. The messenger taught us inside of our Asiatic calendar that we are in the year 1 of our Holy Quran at 13,086 BC.
What'd you say about the 10,000 years, brother?
We have approximately 10,000 years remaining on the Asiatic calendar.
Yeah. How old is our flag?
How old is our flag? I was just
absolutely. We have that much time left.
That's right.
That's how come, but it's sitting in your lesson.
There you go.
Lesson 2, number 1.
Right.
What
made
Holy
Quran the Bible?
We have 9,080 years yet to the date of this writing. The messenger corrected
right
absolutely. The messenger corrected the number inside of our Savior has arrived.
Right.
We leave it there
for
the students.
It was near perfect.
Absolutely. So we 9,980 years to the date of writing, and we counting down now. But look at the science. He told us that our present Holy Quran, we are in the year 1. He used that language of our present Holy Quran, which started in 13,086 BC.
What do we teach? We measure time by cycle ages, and the
1,000%.
We deem a milestone in the journey.
Absolutely. And look at the depthness. The terminology of the year 1 is astronomy. Year 1 is the literal wording for an age.
That's right.
And guess when this age started? And I'm not lying. You can look at it. 13,086 BC in the age of Virgo.
Age of Virgo. That's right.
It's right there.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, man, I need some bomb, man. Hey, listen, man. We got to get
dealing with now the whole procession of, or the procession of the equinoxes, or the
1000%.
Procession of the equinoxes.
That's what the messenger was explaining when he said that it reaches a point and stops at it. He said and it goes backwards a degree every 72 years.
Yes, sir.
He was teaching it then.
Yes, sir.
The processional cycle.
That's right.
But the people who ain't understanding it, you have to learn a letter a day. If you was to learn a letter today, it's 26 letters.
Yes.
Right?
You talking about the 13th problem.
Right. So if you learn a letter a day, break that down into 26,000 years. Because you have 25,890 years, right?
Right.
920 years. So you have that time period consisting of 2,160 years each.
That's fact.
Right?
That's it.
That becomes, yes, sir.
There you go. 2,160 years.
Right. So
How
if you
long
deal with that, that's right.
Years ago.
And what did the messenger say? He said that Master Farah Muhammad could do what? He could speak how many? 16 languages.
16.
And that he can write how many fluently? He could speak fluently and he could speak 16 languages.
Yes.
But how many could he write?
You
got to look at the science. He giving you time.
Right.
You are looking at the time that he is living in.
That's deep.
You got to look at the time because he could write 10 fluently. 10. He could write 10. But 16 he knew.
Interesting.
So if you break down 16, it puts you into two numbers of 26,000, 10,000, and then you have 16,000.
Right.
The messenger taught of the 16,000 year cycle or vacuum for which Yaqub came. You have 10,000 years left before the ending of the Quran.
Right.
You got to remember.
And see,
he's talking about cycle.
Who made Holy Quran a Bible? How long ago?
1,000%.
Right.
Could you tell
but they ain't catch what the God was saying. Come on, man.
Now, you're speaking about something that our brothers in the East would call in the Arabic, al-Kitab.
The
mother of the book.
1,000%.
Right? The mother of the book. And al-Kitab, you already know. Yep, al-Kitab. And how the Prophet Drawley spoke of that. He called it what? The Book of Allah's Remembrance.
And some people call it the Akashic Records.
Yes. See, this is really the way this. I didn't know how this show was going to turn out exactly. I mean, I knew it was always going to turn out good, but I didn't know how it was going, the directions it would take. But man, this is powerful because we're speaking of things that are directly coming out of our literature that are also have a direct parallel to occult orders.
Yes, sir.
Direct. The whole thing of spiritual mechanics, of how the mechanics of creation, the thing of the whole issue of supermen, 24 scientists, 7 sages. That is a very, very strong and key connection that we preserve. Now, mind you, that was washed out of Sunniism due to the reformist movement.
Yes, sir.
So the reformist movement being Wahhabism.
Come on, bro.
Which is your present day Salafi.
There you go.
I just need to make it clear.
It's a fact.
I just got to make it clear.
That's a fact. So
if we gonna talk it, let's talk it.
Right.
If we ain't gonna build, then let's build with it.
Right. But that's what it is. You hit it right on the nose. So that was washed. That knowledge was suppressed. So when Prophet Drew Ali says, "What is our religion?" Islamism. Is that a new or the old top? Oh, you already know, bro.
Listen. And when you're speaking about that, then we going into a different science. I was talking to the God the other day about that.
Yes, sir.
And talking to the God where it's actually showing, he telling you what he planned for it to be.
Yes.
But people makes it a religion.
Mm.
And it's not a religion, it's a system.
It's a system.
It's not a religion.
Mm.
It never was.
Mm.
Not in the sense of what people think of religion today.
Correct.
Because if they understood it, you wouldn't have Moors becoming Salafi.
Woo! Woo!
I'm being real.
Mm.
If you understand it,
Hey, yo, beloved, hold. Wait a minute. Whoa, wait. We're gonna say that because we're just gonna do a whole show on that alone.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna do a whole show on that alone.
Right.
Us three. That'll be a good one.
Yes, sir. So
I just want the listening audience to know that that's coming. That's coming, bro, because both of these brothers, oh man, that topic right there.
That's a topic for you.
That's a topic for you. And both of these brothers are highly, very well educated in that area,
Oh,
hey,
one last thing I like to say, because I got to take off, but one last thing I got to say too about the esoteric or the occult orders, as well to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Right? Both of those teachings are encouraged. We are not just encouraged, we're instructed to develop the latent powers in man.
talk it.
We're instructed to do that. It's our responsibility, right? Initiation physics. Notice how I put those two words together. Initiation physics as practice in secret orders. Initiation physics has the primary objective of accelerated quantum biology.
1000%.
Accelerate quantum biology to develop those latent things within man.
Absolutely. You have to understand that mathematical theology.
Yes, sir. Mathematical theology.
Hey,
he want us to be top and modern.
Yeah.
Quick thinking, fast moving, right on down to modern day and
times.
times.
Prophet Drew Ali said in this electrified age. See?
Brother Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know that you're a practitioner of Chinese medicine.
Yes, sir.
And I know there's a orderism in that as well.
Absolutely.
So one day we're gonna have to talk about what you can, what you're permitted to speak about on that particular level as it pertains to bioenergetics.
Bro, I can speak 100% open about that, and this is why. Our brother Khalil brought it up earlier as to why I could speak open about it. I can tell you everything. If you don't do it, so what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The brother Khalil described a method of literally popping out of your flesh consciously.
Yes, he definitely did.
Now, what he didn't mention is the fact that if you first start doing it, if you do it the first time, right, it's gonna scare the hell out of you, and you're not gonna get there. You're gonna jump up out of it. He ain't described that, but why? Because he mentioned it too. He mentioned the ego. Because at that point, the gatekeeper, the ego is gonna scream bloody murder and say, "You about to die. You're about to lose yourself." And because at that point, you're gonna start to see the difference between your ego and your true self, and it's gonna scare you.
And there is a difference.
There's a difference.
And that is what Crowley was talking about, even though you have people taking it, and that mean the uninitiated,
right?
Say when he say 93, when we might get that greeting, right? And they be like, well, what is he talking about? do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.
Love
and they
under
like,
will.
no, that means do whatever you want. No, he don't. He wrote a whole thing about you learning your true will.
Not what it means.
If you don't know your true will, then how can you do what thou wilt?
How about that?
You need to know your true will.
Come on, brother.
That means you have to get to the divine.
You got to get to the divine. That's
that's right.
He said it this way. To that, where he added to that, he said it like this: the interest of a member can be in only one direction. See? Oh. In other words, if you're to go back to the Crowley quote, if you're willing anything other than the supreme will,
that death contradict each other and cancel each other out.
Cancel each other out, bro.
That's the trick to it.
Ain't that something?
It's right there, though, man.
Yeah.
Can the people see it? It's up to them.
It's up to them. But again, that goes back. But brother, again, that goes back to what you said about man being God. Allah never made the heaven for man. He never made a hell. We are creators and make our own.
1000%. There is no mystery God.
How did Clay Sloan in the movie Training Day say it to Denzel Washington? Around here, you got to put your own work in.
Absolutely.
And one thing I wanted to say, because you gave out a technique, right?
Yes.
And I want to say he gave you the proper way to do the technique.
Yes.
Do lay down on the floor. Don't try to stand up and do that. You'll hurt yourself.
That's real.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, you will.
So lay down on the floor. Do it the way he said do it.
The way he said do it. See, that's I like how you put that, brother. The this one European Kabbalist by the name of Albert Schutz, right? He talks about how the Hebrews or the Jews call it pious deeds. What our true pious deed is you following the instructions, even when you don't understand fully what the outcome.
1000%.
Right.
1000%.
Yes, sir.
Because you will be tested. Brother Sheikh Raphael, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right in the comments. You're absolutely
You will be tested.
Yeah.
And some make the test and some do not. So it's good to attempt to take some control of that ego.
Yes, sir.
Because once you begin into that plane, and I tell people this all the time, sometimes those orders,
yes,
when you do certain things, sometimes they make you aware that your oath follows you.
Ooh.
And sometimes they don't.
Ooh.
Right?
That's right.
But what you are oath to, it remains. Right? It remains. There's no oath that I've ever taken that was against what I am.
There you go.
Right? But here goes something that shows something. Every man must overcome his own obstacles, expose his own illusions. Yet others may assist him to do both, and they may enable him altogether to avoid many of the false paths, leading to whither which tempt the wary feet of the uninitiated pilgrim. They can further ensure that he is duly tried and tested. For there are many who think themselves to be masters, who have not even begun to tread the way of service that leads thereto. Listen, we pray you with attention, for once only does the great order knock at any one door. Here, therefore, we pause, that you may thoroughly search yourself and consider if you are yet fitted to take an irrevocable step. That is in Liber 40. That's in Liber 41.
Wow.
That is the AA. Now, whether you know it or not, once you begin certain spiritual practices, you light up on the inner planes like a gnat attracted to the light at the nighttime.
Right.
Once you begin, you speed up your karma.
Correct.
Because it has to be cleansed. So your evolution begins. So things begin to come back at you kind of fast.
Come on, brother.
And in many manners, it causes forms of suffering.
Yes, sir.
Because it must take place, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But if you submit, then you don't see it as suffering.
Right.
Because suffering is determined on how you perceive it to be.
Correct.
It's your perception. You understand? Like I said, if you are impure here, people think they see from these eyes. You see everything from this eye.
Right.
Your impurity stains everything. You can't weigh other than yourself.
Right.
How you gonna be overweight getting on the mother plane?
Right.
Oh,
Bad
lady.
Come on, bro.
Getting on that mother plane.
Come on.
Right?
Now you talking about that feather. You talking about that scale and that feather of my eye.
1000%. So you can't weigh other than yourself.
That's right.
You have to do some internal work. And the greatest internal work that we can do is using that password that we are taught in the Master Mason.
Yes, sir.
And that password is love.
Love.
And if we use that, we'll unlock everything. That's perfected love.
That's right, brother.
And that's the key to everything.
That's a fact.
And it doesn't matter from which you walk.
Right.
The Nation of Islam is separated into a myriad of things, all because they identifying from a branch. But if they look at the trunk of the tree,
the root,
at the root from which they are given, then no separation can be.
No, sir. Right, brother.
It's the same thing in every ranks. These are schools.
Does not the sap return to the root, though?
Yes, it does. These are, like you said, brother, these are schools. These are schools. Listen, brother, I'm in trouble. I gotta. Yeah.
That's a wife. When you say trouble, that means wife.
Listen, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know what? I'm finna get up out of here so I don't get none of that type of trouble.
Peace to the living God.
Listen, I want to thank you, brothers, honors and gratitude for another wonderful show.
Man, the honor is all mine.
Oh, man. Thank you. Exactly. I want to say thank you to the viewing audience.
Yes, sir.
We thank you. Show love. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Share to your social medias.
Please.
You know, place us in the algorithm because we're going to continue to do this. We're only going to get better. We're only going to upgrade. So support the channel. Like I said, I appreciate y'all. And us three gonna have to get in the chat or something, man, here somewhere, man, figure out what we're gonna do with this next show, man. Because, yeah, man. Hey, man, another beautiful one, man. So I like to say Islam.
Peace to the living God.
Peace to
God.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, God.